Hey guys, it's day 3 of Mr. Wildman's narrator voice as he continues to explain some basic principles of using Google Classroom. Today, we're going to take a look at using Google Docs, which is fully integrated along with all Google apps with Google Classroom. It makes things really easy. So, as we saw in yesterday's video, classwork is the section that I really prefer to access materials. But we also have our ability to look at the upcoming to access assessments. So let's just say we want to get to Reflection 1, but I want to show you that you can get to that from the upcoming tab up here, which is very useful for showing you things that you have not completed. They'll always pop up right here. So I'm going to click Reflection 1. Let's look at the instructions. In English, write one paragraph about why you think language learning is important. Use Google Docs to complete this assignment. You'll see that it's 100 points, and it is due soon. To the right-hand side, we have two possibilities where it says your work in this box right here. It says it's assigned. That means that it's been assigned to us. One is mark as done, and one is add or create. Mark as done, we would only ever click if we had sent, for some reason, a document to the teacher through email or given them a hard copy for some reason, or maybe we did this by hand and gave it to them in class. Then we could possibly say, hey, I gave you this, mark as done, and the teacher agrees to that, and you're good to go. Generally, we're not going to be clicking mark as done on these sorts of assignments. Instead, we're going to click add or create. Now, there's multiple ways that we could go about making a Google Docs and then integrating it and turning it into Google Classrooms. But the easiest way to go about doing this is to just click add or create from the very start. You'll see here we could have added a link. We could have added a file that we'd already done. We could do it from Google Drive. There's all these beautiful options. Easiest way to go about doing this is to just say create new docs from right here. It's going to bring us into a Google Docs that we can go ahead and use for this assignment. So you'll see it's already created our lovely Google Docs right here. I'm going to allow that pop up. And then I'm going to click it. And it has brought us into Caleb Wildman Reflection 1. So this is me, the student Caleb Wildman. In this case, it puts your name automatically at the top and it already titles it. And that's why I really like this as opposed to using Google Docs first and then trying to share a link with the assignment. If you'll just click Create New Google Docs, it's already going to title it for you, including your name. There's no confusion. It makes life a lot easier. And instead of having to share it with anyone when we're done, we can just click Turn In. Now that we're at Google Docs, I'm going to go ahead and do a favor for all of you who are taking English, because that's the place where you're going to most likely be using Google Docs. You're only going to, if you're taking my class, you're only going to use it once or twice for writing some Spanish later in the year. But for our English majors, not majors, but for our English kids, which is everyone, you're going to want to write in what? What is that? What's that lovely format? Ah, yes, MLA. So, if you don't know what MLA is, you're going to learn, but MLA is basically a way to write, right? There's styles of writing in academia. We have MLA, APA if you're talking about lab reports in science, and any of the other sciences. But generally speaking, we write most of our essays in school in MLA format. So in the spirit of helping you guys out, I'm going to set this document up for an MLA format so that hopefully I can preemptively answer any questions that you might have about things like double space, font, all that sort of thing. As you will know, Arial doesn't cut it. Arial looks like this. But to a lot of teachers, Arial doesn't cut it. There's some leeway in the MLA guidelines, blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to argue that. A lot of teachers prefer Times New Roman, right? So we're going to go down here and click Times New Roman. You may think that that's the most dry and boring font, but typically in the world of academics, that's just the format that we use, or the font rather. We use Times New Roman. And we also use 12-point font, right? So see what your teacher has to say about font. They may have different rules or regulations. They may give you a little leeway here. They're probably not going to give you any leeway on the font size. It's almost always 12. Everyone can agree on that. From here, a common question for MLA formatting is, how do you put in headers? Because you have to have your name at the top right-hand corner, right, with the page number. To do that in Google Docs, it's very simple. You just double-click up here, and it automatically lets you go to the header. Then I can just tab over, or space over, or however you like to do that, and type my last name. Kind of jack that up. We fixed it. So you'll notice that the font has changed when I go to the header. That's because every part of the document is already defaulted to Arial font. So if I'm using a font other than Arial, if I go to my header, I want to change that to Times New Roman so that it's correct. From here I could go to the Insert tab, and then I could insert my page number as well. That's another possibility. So let's say that we have headed this in all the appropriate ways. Maybe we put our name, date, what's today? The 11th of June. June 11, 2020, great year. And then maybe we have our class subject. And this is going to vary depending on your teacher. And then maybe we have our title. We're always going to want to center our title. This is Reflection 1. And then we want to get back to the left align after centering. And then I can start typing, right? So let's say I have my paragraph, which hopefully it's a little bit longer than that, right? So we have our paragraph. Everything looks great, right? Well, not exactly. We do want to make sure that we get our double space in here. So this is a question that comes up a lot, even in my class when we're doing our few activities on Google Docs, is how do we get to the double spacing on Google Docs? Well, I'm going to answer that question for you. Let's go to Format. Let's click Line Spacing, and let's click Double. Now there's another thing that I like to make sure that I take care of on here is I make sure that this doesn't say add space before paragraph, or rather that it does. So let me give you an example. If I have it selected, add space before paragraph, then at every line break, it's going to do this big gap. If you have this big gap, that's clearly not correct double spacing. I'm just going to be honest with you. When your teacher sees that, they see that as incorrect double spacing. And they're usually not going to be very sympathetic to something like, well, I tried it and it didn't work. So let me just help you out here. If you have this problem where when you do a line space, like when you hit enter, it does like 4 spaces like this. The problem is that it's already set up to add a space before or after the paragraph. So you'll see after I turn that option on, now it says remove space before paragraph. So we want to click that because we want to remove spaces before paragraph. We don't want it to happen, right? So ideally, when it's all said and done, if you want to go back and check your double spacing, make sure that it says add space as an option and not remove. If it says remove, click that and make sure that it is removed. We don't want any space between our line breaks. Once we're done with that, we can click turn in and it will automatically turn in. Or if we go back, we click turn in from right here as well. It's going to save that to the drive. Are you sure you want to turn in? I'm going to click turn in. It's going to take a couple minutes. And it says turned in and we're good to go. And we're done with that assignment. So that's all I've got for you today, guys. Just wanted to take a look at those Google Docs basics and using it with Google Classroom. Tomorrow we're going to look at slides and how to sort of integrate a slides presentation. Have a great day. I will see you then.